Welcome all, Bernie here from EWPRO. Getting straight into the weekly outlook, looking at the DXY on the daily time frame. Nothing's changed on the daily. I'm still looking at this C down. We still can get more downside. If we have a look over here, we got like 3 up in here, and then another lower low, and we sort of have the same thing happening over here. So I'm still looking for another one down on the lower time frame. We still may get another one down. Like I mentioned on the H4, over the last few weeks, we got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So I'm looking for 3 or 5 up in here for a complex correction before possibly more downside. So, at this time, it's really just scalping buys for possible, 5 up. Already we sort of have on the H1 like 1, 2, 3. We can get a 4 and a 5 up in here before we get a larger correction, and then a wave 3, and then a wave 4, and then a wave 5 up. So, yeah, if you're going to trade this one up, well, you definitely want to get it to break even, because you may get taken out in this larger correction here after we get the 1, 2, 3, and a 4, and a 5th one up. So it's pretty much just scalping like I've been going over for the last few weeks. AU on the daily, nothing's changed either. Looking for more upside, but we're waiting for a correction in here on the lower time frames. And I've pretty much been saying over the last few weeks, we're getting very choppy movement here. So I've been saying, keep out. We've got all this bearish divergence. Keep out until we get this one down, breaking these lows over here. And then if we get a buy set up, well, then we can look for it like an A, a B, and a C up. And it may turn motive, of course. Yeah, so I've been mentioning this every week for the last, month or more. So we're really looking for sells. It's not giving us any sell setups, not nice sell setups anyway. As you can see here, well, if I go down to the lower time frame just to quickly show you, but you can see how choppy this is in here. This is the top here. We got deep correction, impulse, deep correction. So every time you're getting in, it's taking you out. So it's very difficult to trade. I'm pretty much waiting for, like I showed on the H4. If we get one down in here, and an A, a B, a C down in here, and then a buy setup, I need this buy setup before I can even look for a buy. GU, nothing's changed on the daily either. We do have an A, a B, and a C. This wave C has broken the ending point of that wave A. I am looking for more upside, possibly up to that 100 fib, or even higher possibly. But on the H4, like I've been mentioning for many weeks now, I'm looking at this, an A, B, C in here, and then I'm looking for this C down for a flat after these 5 up. So we get 5, 3, and another 5 up. So nothing's changed. I believe last week there was, can't remember exactly where we were, but we were looking for downside here. This is more bullish now when we go down to the lower time frames. This can be a flat here. I think I did mention this last week when it was down in here somewhere. I said, if we get a sell set up, you can look for a sell, but you got to be careful, because this can be an A, a B, and a C here, and then we get an A, B, C, and more upside. At this stage, it's more bullish on the lower time frames. In saying that, you have to be extremely careful, because again, this can be a flat here. So an A, B, C here expanding flat, and then we got 1, 2, 3, 4, and you get a fifth one down here. We got a bear hidden here. May not be confirmed, but still it can go either way. We can either get this fifth wave down in here, like I just showed, or this can give us a correction in here and give us more upside and go and break these tops with this A, B, C in here if this is a flat here. So again, you need good setups to buy. A good system setup to buy. If you need a good system setup, I show you exactly how I enter the market, and it's the safest way I know. And yeah, I think the people in my group can vouch for that. But looking here on the like M15 quickly, we got an impulse up, we got an A, a B, and we can get a C down. This can be a flat in here. So if you got a nice impulse up and a bullish setup on the lower time frames, you could look for more upside. But if you don't get this, more than likely this is that flat like I showed, and it'll come down and break the low. So you need that good setup and it's really just scalping. We're right on the lower time frame, so you need a good setup to be even into the market. GU on the daily, nothing's changed. We're looking for possibly more upside. On the H4, nothing's changed on the H4 either. I've been going over this for weeks. Like we got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So we can get 3 or 5 down in here as a complex correction before we get 5, 3, 5. So again, we've been looking for this wave down in here. And then if we get a bullish setup, well then I can look for a buy. Until that happens, I'm pretty much staying out of it. Again, it's like GU, we sort of have on the H1, we sort of have 1, 2, 3, an A, B, C in here, a possible flat here for another one down for like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in here. We don't have the ball hidden on this one, but yeah, you got to be really careful. You need really good setups to trade these, especially when we're in corrections. Like I believe we're in a correction here, like an A, B, C, or a complex correction, as I showed. This is where people lose their money in corrections. They lose their money in corrections. So trading corrections is a lot more dangerous than trading like impulses. We want to try and trade the impulses, not the corrections. We want to trade these impulses. So, unfortunately, on the lower time frames, it's not giving us that nice, nice sell setup like I just showed. It's very choppy. Like here, this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's very choppy. If this is a flat here, well, and this is a wave 1, 2, 3, 4, and a wave 5. Well, this wave 4 has gone into the territory of wave 2. So you've got to be extremely careful trading. It's not following the Elliott wave rules, where impulses don't go, the wave 4 doesn't go into the territory of wave 2, unless it's a leading or ending diagonal, of course. Now, this may be a leading diagonal here, but you still got to be very careful because this wave 4 has gone into that territory of the wave 2. NU on the daily, nothing's changed on the daily either. Looking for that A, B, C, looking for more upside, but on the lower time frames, just like all the other pairs, we're waiting for a correction. We're waiting for a nice correction. It's exactly the same as most of the others. We've got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and we're looking for 3 Well, I'm looking for 3 or 5 down in here for a 333 or 335 complex correction before we get an A, a B, and a C up. And again, this may turn motive after we get this correction. We need this correction here, though. So like I've been mentioning, you can't trade this. If you're trading this, you're getting cut to pieces. If you're looking for buys in here, you're getting cut to pieces. We got to wait for this 3 or 5 down in here, a nice bullish setup, and then we can look for a buy. It's pretty much like I've been mentioning week after week for the last month or more. Nothing's changed. GY on the daily. I am looking for more upside, possibly up to this 100 fib. This is still looking rather bullish, but again, you pretty much have to stay out. Because we sort of have that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up in here. And if you remember, we lost the bullish divergence in here. So I was looking for a larger correction. I'm looking at an A, a B, and a C. I need that C down before I can start to look for buys. It's that simple. I need this setup. I need this C down and then a bullish setup to buy. Until I get this, I'm staying out of the market. It's dangerous. It's you're trading in a B wave, like this A, B, and a C. You're trading in this B wave, and that's where people lose their money. So yeah, pretty much staying out of this H4. We got all this bearish divergence, so I'm not looking for buys, and there is no sell setup on it. For a sell setup, I would want this top here to be broken over here, and then a nice impulse down, correction, sell setup to sell. Until this happens, I'm not looking for buys. There's just way too much divergence for me to consider buying this. UY, like I've been mentioning for weeks, I'm staying out of this completely. And the reason is because this low here has not been broken over here, like I've been mentioning. Nothing's changed. I'm pretty much staying out of this altogether. Until that low is broken. On the H4, like many of the others, I'm looking for a 333 or 335 complex correction. We have 1, 2, 3. Sort of got one. This can be a B in here. So we get an A, B, C here, a flat. Then we get an A, B, C. And then we get the A, B, C. So we get 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then we get 3 or 5 up as a complex correction before we get more downside. So again, it's dangerous to trade. I'm looking at that complex correction, so it's risky. I mean, I may be completely wrong, and this just shoots up and takes off. But I'm not prepared to take that risk, especially when this low over here has not been broken. This low over here was not broken over here. If this did come down and break that low over here, well, then I'd be more confident in buying, but it hasn't. So I'm looking at a possible correction in there before more downside. USD CAD, again, I've been mentioning for weeks now, I'm staying out of this altogether. Like UY, I'm staying out of this altogether. Because we got like 1, 2, 3. I'm waiting for this time factor. I've been saying this ever since we hit this top here. I'm waiting for this time factor. Now, this wave 4 has come into the territory of the wave 2, so I can't trade it. It's not following the rules of Elliott wave, unless this is a ending diagonal. This wave 4 has come into the territory of the wave 2, so it's not feeling not fitting the Elliott wave rules, so I pretty much stay out of it. I mean, it may still give us a wave 5 up in here as an ending diagonal, but you know, it's very risky when this wave 4 comes into the territory of wave 2. It's still an impulse, but it's risky. For the sells, I really need to see this low here broken, like I said last week. If this low here gets broken over here, well, then if we get a correction, we can look for a sell. Other than that, it's really scalping, and like I've been mentioning for weeks now, I'd be staying out of this pair altogether now. There's nothing clear on the higher time frames to trade. H4, we sort of had this flat in here I was looking at, you know. We had that like way B, C down. We are getting bullish divergence. I think there may actually be a buy setup on this, but again, it's quite risky, you know. If it's more scalping. We got an impulse up from the from a low. So if you do get a correction and a buy setup, well, you could look to buy. It's risky because, like I said on the daily, you know, it's risky. So yeah, if you got a bullish setup after this impulse here, you could look for a buy. If you want to learn more about how to get in these trades, well, you really have to join the group. I can't go over the YouTube. It's that simple. The Swissy, we're looking at that A, B, C. Still looking for possibly more downside. Like all the other pairs, I'm looking at a complex correction, 333 or 335, complex correction in here before we get more downside. We don't have any bullish divergence in here. We have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I can get 3 or 5 up in here before we get more downside. So we get A, B, C. So again, you know, this one here, you do sort of have to be a little bit careful because, you know, this top here hasn't been broken. If this had gone up and broken that top and then given you a correction, it would be a lot safer. At this stage, it hasn't done that. If I just go down to the lower time frames, it's still a buy on the lower time frames, but you know, it's not the best. It's actually on the M30. So in here, it's actually it's on the H1, but it's a bit hard to see. That's all. I was going to try and go down to the lower time frames, but on the H1 we have like 1, 2, 3. We have a ball hidden in here, so we can get an A, a B, a C up in here, and then an A, B, C, and then a bullish setup, and you could look for a fifth wave up. But again, if this is the wave 1 and 2, well, this wave 4 in here, and this is a wave 3. It's hard to write with the mouse, but this wave 4 may come into this territory of wave 2, and you know, and then it's not fitting the Elliott wave rules. So you know, it does look, you know, I'd be looking at an A, B, C, and then another one down in here, and then yeah, again, you could look for a buy to go and break the top for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But yeah, it's really just scalping, and it's risky. You're buying into a correction. I'm looking at all this as corrective. So, you know, you're buying into a correction. It's risky. You're not following the trend. E.g., like I've been mentioning for weeks now, this was one of the better ones when we were down in here. This was one of the better ones to buy because this is the low here. We got a 1, 2, 3, 4. We got a ball hidden here. I'm looking for that fifth wave up to go and break that top. This wave 4 has gone into this territory of the wave 2, but because it's right at the low, this can be a leading diagonal. You know, like I've mentioned, if you've been following me for a while, well, you would be hearing this every week because nothing's really changed. This is where you needed to get in on the H1. Like I've been mentioning, this was where you had to get in. We had this nice impulse up from a low. We got three up, breaking this top. We got it flat here. It did go sideways here, like I mentioned, but then it took off. So we have like 1, 2, 3. Looking at this wave 4 here, a flat, and we're getting that fifth wave up now. So you're pretty much on it or you're not. I should have put the count on here, but I haven't. So this is more over here, some sort of a large, ugly looking correction here. But you can see this flat here. I showed this last week. You know, this possible flat here. I was looking for one down in here. And that's pretty much played out. If we go down to the lower time frames, we'd have 5 down in here. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Impulse up. You could look for a buy. But you're buying. It's risky again because you're trading in a wave 5 now. It's already broken the tops. But yeah, you know, on the lower time frames, if you've got a little flag or bullish setup in here, you could look for 3 or 5 up in here. Again, it's risky because you're trading in the H1 wave 5 and it's already broken the tops. So it's already played out. You know, you're too late to the game. WTI on the daily, nothing's changed. We got that A, B. I've been looking for this C up. I was on the lower time frames looking for a possible another one down, but it's clear that it's taken off. Again, there was a bullish setup on this. If you've been following me for a while, you would have seen this. I mean, I wasn't expecting it to take off like this, but we had this flat in here. It turned more complex, but we had that flat in here and then this buy set up here. I was just looking for an A, B, C. It's turned into motive wave. So I'm sort of looking at an extended wave 3 here. So we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in here. And then we get like 1, 2, 3, extended wave 3. And then we get 4 and a 5. So I'm looking at this as an extended wave. I should have put the count on, but people in my group see this on the daily outlook. So, but yeah, I'm looking at an extended wave here. 1, 2. You got to wait for a wave 3. A wave 4 in here, and then you could trade a wave 5 up. This is the wave 3. Looking at this as a correction, get one down in here, buy setup. Well, then you could trade that wave 5 up, and then you get the larger 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as an extended wave. I've actually taken the larger one off this. I did have an arrow up here. I took it off, but I'll put it back on quickly. So if you've been following me for a while, I'm looking at 1, 2, 3. I'm waiting for this time factor here before I trade that wave 5 up. We're right at the top of the market on gold on the daily. Like many of the others, I'm looking at a complex correction here. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I'm looking for 3 or 5 down in here before I look for a buy to go and break the top for a wave 5. Wave 5 on the daily. I'm waiting for that time factor like I showed on the daily. So this could be very choppy. I don't think we do have a bull hidden here. No, we don't have a bull hidden in here. So this may be the end of the wave C. But again, it's very difficult to trade. I'm actually on this. There was a sell set up on this. I was showing it in the room. I got in here somewhere. There was a sell set up. But you can see how I'm still on half of this. But you can see how choppy this is. So, I'm definitely at break even on the second half of my trade. It didn't go for me, and instead it turned very choppy. But like I've been mentioning week after week, I'm only looking for sells because I'm looking at that as a C wave and I'm looking for 3 or 5 down. Unfortunately, this is very choppy and it's more bullish. It's more bullish than anything. Unfortunately, it's not the best setup because it's more on the M15. But the problem here is we had a very deep correction here. So we've got a wave 1, 2, 3. We're getting a wave 4 here. So you can trade a wave 5 up here. It's more scalping. If you're lucky, it takes off. But it still can be some sort of a B, C here, a flat, and you get more downside. That's why I'm still holding this trade, this sell, because, even though this is so choppy, it's more shown on the H1. You can see how choppy this is, but like I just showed, this can be like an A, a B, a C here. Get another one up in here, you get a flat, and you get more downside. So, if you're lucky, it takes off and breaks the top for you, but, it's more of a buy. On the lower time frames, it's more of a buy for a wave 5 up. It's scalping, and if you're lucky, it takes off and breaks the top. If you're unlucky, well, it plays out like I'm thinking, and we get an A, B, C in here, a flat, and more downside, and takes you out. So, yeah. Silver, we got the 5 up. We got the larger correction. It's gone up and broken the top. So, again, there's not much you can do here, you know. We're looking for a flat in a correction in here. Like this is an extended wave too, possibly. Like we got like 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in here as an extended wave 3, and then we get a wave 4 similar size to that over here, and then you trade a wave 5 up. It's more of an extended wave. But yeah, at this stage, it's more of a sell. We have come from a top, and if we get a correction in here, you can look for at least 3 down, and more than likely it'll give you 5 down. So, if you get a correction in here next week, you can look for 3 down. At least 3 down, A, B, C. And on silver, we've only been looking for sells up the top there, on the daily. Bitcoin, we got the 5 up, we got the larger correction. It's very similar to silver. We got the 5 up, larger correction, and we've already gone up and broken the top. So we're pretty much only looking for sells, just like silver. This one is very choppy up the top here. We sort of had the 5 down in here. We're even looking for this 5th wave down in here. We got it with bullish divergence. We had a nice impulse up, but then we had an impulse down, like I showed last week. And, this can turn more complex. Last week we were looking at this in here as an A, B, get a C down in here, and then an A, B, C flat, A, B, C, and then you could get an A, B, C in here as well, another flat, 535, you know. So this can turn more complex. It's really just scalping. And unless you can identify these structures in here, these possible corrections, you've got to stay out because you'll get cut to pieces. There's, like I'm showing here, these flats, um, unless you can identify these ahead of time, like I'm showing here, if you're trying to scalp, you'll get cut to pieces if you're not looking at some sort of a possible correction. And again, you're trading in a correction, so it's risky at this stage. So on the lower time frames, it's already played out. I'm pretty sure last week we were starting to get this. Well, we're over here, like we had that, and I was looking for a correction in here, and then you could sell one down because we had this impulse here. Unless it was during the week, it could have been in a daily outlook. But yeah, only going to do these once a week. I'm not going to do these every day for YouTube. If you want to see exactly how I trade, well, you got to join the group, and it's the most comprehensive course out there that I know. And I've done quite a few courses and that, and there's nothing that comes close to how comprehensive my course is out of every other course that I've ever seen. And I give you exactly how I enter the market, the system setups, a lot better than I've seen anywhere else either. So yeah, but it's up to you if you want to join. I'm not on here to push my course, as you probably know. I'm not on here, uh, talking about my course every week. I just don't do that. I'm on here to try and help traders look at the direction of the market coming up. I'm not on here to sell courses. I make money trading. I don't make money doing courses. Like these other gurus. They make money out of trading because out of selling courses because they can't trade, and it's that simple. It's that simple. That's why they're always on YouTube. Spreading, whatever they're spreading, and trying to sell their courses. You would notice if you've been following me for a long time, I don't do that. I'm doing it right now, but I haven't. As a rule, I don't do it. Because I don't need to sell courses to make money. I make money in the market. And I do show a lot of my trades in the trading room on the live account. So, Bitcoin, again, we've already got 3 down in here on the H1. Looking at a B, possible C up in here, flat, another one down. This weekly outlook's going to go for too long. But anyway, I'll try and do this very quickly. S&P 500, there's nothing we can do here. I'm looking at this flat here, expanding flat to go up and break that top. Waiting for a correction on the lower time frames before I can look for a buy. And, I mean, we sort of have that like 1, 2, 3. I'm looking for a flat in here. It sort of did try and come down here, but it's not really far enough. I mean, this is more bullish still, but it's not giving me a good entry. I want, I don't want to buy right at the top of the market. I want, risk reward. I need that risk reward, and I need a nice C down in here, like I said last week, and then a buy set up to buy, or else you're buying right up the top of the market, and it's risky. Sorry. AU200's the same as well. Looking for a correction. I'm not going to go over this again, but yeah, it's the same as last week. Waiting for a correction, and it's the same as S&P 500. Waiting for a correction, at least down to the 38.2, ideally down to the 50 fib, or I need a correction to buy. Other than that, you're just scalping sells, and you may be scalping a sell into the correction. FTSE's the same as well as last week, and it's the same as the indices that I've already done. We had a nice impulse down. I was looking for a correction in here, and we could have looked for a sell. It didn't do that. Instead, it went straight back up. So, like the others, looking for a correction in here before I can look for a buy. Other than that, you're scalping sells into a correction. Lastly, the DAX. Now, this one's already played out. We had that ball hidden to go and break the top, like I've been mentioning for months and months now. It's already broken the top. We need this correction in here before we can look for a buy. Other than that, you're looking for sells. I think this one did actually give us a sell setup. Yeah, it did. Not sure if it was in our group or what, but yeah. Last week, we had that impulse down. If we got a sell set up in here, you could look for a sell. Again, I'd be more bearish on this. If we're looking at this as the impulse, I mean, looks like a flat in here on the lower time frames for more downside. But after this is over, I'd be looking for a larger correction and then more downside for at least an A, B, C. Ideally down to the 50 fib or even lower. But yeah, I'm looking for a larger correction and then a sell. I mean, on the lower time frames, you may get a flat in there and a scalp sell. So I hope you got something out of this video. If you did, please hit the like button, share and subscribe. Enjoy your weekend, and I'll see you out there next week.